guys. All right, so now we're looking at frames and arrows. This was what we did this past week, so we just did this lesson. So we should be pretty good with this one. All right, so for here, I'm looking at a sequence. Remember, this is very similar to our in and out boxes, okay, except that it's following the same pattern all the way across and it's in a line. Okay, so here I remember that I'm supposed to write this rule above all the arrows. That's why it gives me that hint here for the arrow. So I'm going to do that. So it says the rule here is minus 10. So I'm going to write minus 10 above all these arrows. And I'm then going to solve each of the boxes, or we call those the frames. Okay, and I'm going to see what number should go in those based on the pattern. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one. It gave me the answer here, so I can just go ahead and begin. So 74 minus 10. Well, when I subtract 10, I can count down and say 74, 73, 72, or I can count down by tens. But this is a good one because when I do tens, remember I can just change the tens place here and keep the ones place the same. So what's 10 less than 70? Well, that is 60. And then the ones place stays the same, so that's 64. So 74 minus 10 is 64. 64 minus 10 is 54, right? I'm just changing the 10s. 7, 6, 5. So following that pattern, 7, 6, 5, what should go here? That's right, 44, because 1 less than 5 is 4. And these are really 10s since it's in the 10th place, so it's 44. So then if we know that that's 44, what should go here? 34, yeah. And then that follows with the same pattern, because then last we have 24. Now, how could I check my work? Maybe it's not tens. Maybe you're working on one that's not tens. How could you check, since this is subtracting? Sometimes subtracting can be more difficult. What did we learn that we could do? Yeah, we can go backwards. So we can do the opposite this way. And since we were subtracting, what's the opposite of subtracting? Adding. So I can do the opposite here. Same thing if it was multiplying, dividing, right? If the rule was dividing, then we wouldn't go backwards and we wanted to multiply. Here, though, we are adding, subtracting. So here I'm going to do all the adding tens and see if I get the same answer. And it might take a little bit. I know lots of us want to finish early. We like to just rush through. Okay, but it is good to take our time and make sure we're really looking at this because it really does help us when we accidentally make a silly mistake, right, that you didn't mean to make. This is a good way to check your work. Okay, so don't always have to rush through to get done. Okay, 24 plus 10, right, that's 34 plus 10, 44 plus 10, 54 plus 10, 64 plus 10, 74. Okay, this worked out well. Okay, again, if this was a little bit tricky of a problem, this would have been very helpful to me. Okay, so now you guys are going to go through and solve these two problems. And then don't forget to go here and reflect for this portion. Where should you move your dot now? Or where, not should you, but where do you feel like you've grown? Do you feel like you know a little bit more? Or do you feel like you still need some help? You haven't grown at all. Okay, if you haven't grown, then maybe this is what you're going to ask me when we do our Google Meet. Okay, or maybe you want to do a special Google Meet on this one specific skill. This is where you're going to let me know that. Okay, and then I'm going to show you the next model in a minute.